Hey, is that a person? Holy cop, Jalen! What do you say? You're my very first YouTuber that's come over to the live stream. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry it took me a little while to get everything sorted. Trying to get my bike and gear, and as coming out of the park, I saw some folks going into the park that there's a homeless campment around us, and they sneak in usually about 2 or 3 to shower and use the toilets and stuff. And I don't ever say anything. They're not hurting anything over there. One time, one of them overdosed and had to have the ambulance break down the door and stuff. But other than that, they need a place to shower too. You know, I could be a jerk about it and stuff, but as long as they're not hurting me, I'm not gonna fuss about anything. But I'm going on an adventure. So there's a lot of Florida black bears. So hopefully we'll see something. Hey, Julie! Hey, there's Julie Selma! Will you look at that? Holy cow! You guys are making me happy. Let's cut across the road, huh? And I hope the reception's gonna be okay. Maybe it'll be better reception over here than it ordinarily is. But let's do a little bit of off-road action. We'll go find any snakes until we go to where the snakes might be. This is so fun being out at this hour when nobody else is except for those people that I saw coming out of the park. But I'm hoping we find some cool stuff while we're out here. That sand is hard to get through even with a little bit of help. There's an animal. I don't know what it is. Let's go see what that is. I saw eye shine. It's crossing the path, whatever it is. You see that right in the middle of the path? Wait, maybe it's trash. Never mind, it's trash. Dadgummit. Oh, man. I don't have the best eyes, and I could have swore that was a critter and not a piece of trash. Hey, guys, I could see you. I see somebody. Is the reception really bad? Is that why I'm losing some friends here? It's probably what it is. Hey, Ash. But I don't know how this system works over here, guys. I don't know if you're able to like, if you're able to share, if you're able to do any of that stuff. But if you are, please do. I do know my friend Dean said that it's very close. We're very close once we get more videos out and getting our views up, that we're very close to making it almost like Uncle TikTok, that we'd have the same ability to receive support and gifting and sharing and liking and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start learning over here. And thank you guys for coming over at least and giving it a support. I miss the late night adventures too. So from now on, we're going to leave over from TikTok and we're going to come over here to do all this stuff because I can do this here without getting in trouble, obviously. And I cannot do that with Uncle TikTok. They won't let me do any of this fun adventure stuff with you guys. So it doesn't look too fun adventure right now, but we're just getting started off. I got to get through all this kind of stuff to get you to where the critters might be. So this is our first trial run, and I'm so glad. So there's 5 people. Oh, I couldn't figure it out. I thought that there was a little thumbs up that meant that there was 1 person in here. Look at that moth. What kind you got there? Oh, it's not a very big one, but oh, he almost got me right in the nugget. All right, we're going to start looking for critters, guys. This is a good rattlesnake spot. I'm really hoping to get us a big fat rat, and I can actually work with a rattlesnake because I'm not on TikTok. So if I find one, I can get us up close and personal with it. Other than Meemaw getting upset with me, we should be fine. Shelly's got my her phone. I took her do not disturb off in case something happens. My moderators have her number in case something happens. The only thing I'm worried about now is I'm a little chilly. I know that sounds kind of funny because it's probably perfect reptile weather, but I'm a little chilly. Sometimes I get an itch in my helmet. I can't do anything about it. I hate that. It's the worst thing. Get an itch all the way up in your helmet. It's like having a cast on your arm, you know? All right, guys. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the area that I'm in right now. 'Cause I can't read the chat too, but I'll stop periodically. I'm in Citrus County, Crystal River. I'm going to try not to blind anybody with my lights. If I get on the road, I'll put back my other light. But right now, this is nice to be able to see. Let's put a little bit more of a focus beam on so I can control it more. But Crystal River is a wonderful spot, not only for nature and wildlife, but for people. You know, I love it. But it's known as the Nature Coast, and it's known as the Nature Coast for a reason. Many times you might come to Florida and you have yourself a vacation and you say, self, I might like to go swim with the manatees. Well, this is probably the place that you would do it in, Crystal River. Some people feel some kind of way and they think it's a really bad thing. And let me tell you, it can be. Every year guides do stupid, foolish things. Every year people do stupid, foolish things. But the people that are paying for the pleasure, some people, you know, a lot of people are making their living off it, but so are the manatee. In fact, without those, you know, tourism dollars coming in, they wouldn't have this to be treated. Of course, since there's money involved, there's always going to be things that can go wrong. But by and large, regulation and the people involved, you know, the people really care for the manatee. And there are stupid, I've seen really dumb guides go out and touch manatee babies and separate them from the mother and bring them over to the tour group because they want to give them a good experience. And I've seen dumb stuff like that. But let me tell you the flip side of the coin. I happen to love a little critter that's in our water that most people don't even know what it is, but it's called the southern fat mucket. And it's a type of bivalve mollusk. You might call them clams or mussels. But it sits there silently in the bottom of Florida rivers like Crystal River, keeping the water clean constantly. It's all it does by the action of its feeding. It's actually cleaning the water. Now that little critter is just as endangered as the manatee, but people spend maybe $300 to $1,000 a year on its research and trying to save it. Why is that? Well, it's not really bringing, at least to people, they don't think it's bringing any value to them. It's not bringing tourism or tax dollars. It's not a great big thing like a sweet, cuddly, fat sea cow manatee. So it gets no protection. Now, if that little thing had pearls in it or it was somehow valuable, it would have all the protection in the world. I'm trying to give those animals value by telling you how awesome they are. That's what I really want to do with the rest of my life. I want to share those things with you. Now, I believe that little fat mucket, that little mollusk, it should have just as much love as the manatee, but it doesn't get it. I say that to say this, it's not perfect. Places like Crystal River, Weeki Wachee that have tourism for manatees, but it's all the manatee have right now. We've done that to them. We've created the system that they're now in, and we're doing the best we can with it. I say we because I really do believe that some people are doing their very best to help out. Some bad apples give it a real bad reputation. But we're going to need those tax dollars to keep them safe. I'll tell you that, unfortunately. Now, let's go this way. Now, this road I got to be careful on. Cool thing is I don't have to worry about you guys tattling on me now. But this road I got to be a little bit careful because people can sneak up really fast on this road. But I'm off of Rock Crusher. We're going to head down towards the beach. And wait, there's some eye shine, but I can't tell if it's a house or if it's a critter. Nope, that's just a critter. But I am on the wrong side for a moment. When I see a car, I'll switch over. But the area that I'm going in right now, let me get the flashlight back on to where you can see a little bit better, is chock-a-block full of bears, deer, wild things like armadillo, bobcat, coyote, turkey, plenty of different birds, many different reptiles. I have noticed it is a little bit cooler than I would like to catch some good snakes, but we might still run into, you know, a rattlesnake that's getting out or something on the pavement. You never know. But it might just be a little bit too late to run into much of anything, but we're going to go and ride around a little bit. Crystal River really is a spectacular area. I often talk about the scary qualities here. it's it's got its fair share of spooks and specters and ghosts and haints and goblins and evil things, haunted areas, cursed objects. It's got it all in Citrus County. In fact, the area that I'm passing through right now that I'm trying to show you is the home of being or beings that they call the Blue-Eyed Thump Thump, and some of you kind of heard of that, but I haven't done any videos, at least over here, on it. But the Blue-Eyed Thump Thump is supposedly either a Bigfoot or something very much like a Bigfoot, a hairy hominid, and it's said to live right here, right here, right here, right here, where I am right now. And the story that I'm going to share with you is a true story. You can look it up. You don't have to take Uncle Creature's word for it. Go to Uncle Google instead. But literally, if you look up the Blue-Eyed Thump Thumps in Crystal River, Florida, you'll find Bigfoot report that'll just absolutely knock your socks off because it's so wild that you would think it's made up. But I have searched, I've researched, I found plenty of receipts to show that this actually happened, or at least they believe it happened. Now, whether it was mass hysteria or something else, I don't know. But it's a wild story about many people that saw the same thing. People say they saw Bigfoot shot. Now, what happened that night, I don't know, but this area is an old mine. In fact, it's one of the highest points in Florida, and there's old mines behind where we're staying at the Rock Crusher RV. But it used to be bauxite, used to be a mine, and then the mine people sold out. They petered out the mine. They sold the land to the government where they had satellite stations because the mountain's so high. They put their satellite dishes up there. Then they sold it to the RV park. And since they sold it to the RV park, there's been a lot of changes. But back in the summer of 1969, when all this happened, that's the summer that Bigfoot was supposedly shot. Now, it started with people hearing noises. It started long before this report that I'm telling you about, but people often reported hearing strange noises, trees, rocks being thrown, rocks smashing against each other, trees being hit with rocks and with wood. They heard the sound of heavy footsteps. That's in fact why they called them the Thump Thumps. They called them Blue-Eyed Thump Thumps because the reflection, their eyes shone at night like an animal, and they would thump. Not only they would thump trees, they'd thump rocks, but they would thump around the campsite or thump around wherever people were, thump the ground with their feet, like they were stomping really hard in the dirt, trying to intimidate. What the hell was it? So they would do this to intimidate folks, and people would leave that area alone back where the Rock Crusher was. Well, kids like to go and party away from where their adults and their parents are, right? The Rock Crusher is a great place to go back. There's a quarry for swimming. There's places to hide for fires and bonfires. It's hard to get back there. So all the local high school kids love to go. I guess you can like over here. If you guys could do me a favor, I'm trying to learn this over here. There's a button up there that has a like. Are you able to do that? Is that something that you guys are able to do? If so, does it do anything? Does it help invite more friends in? I am going to ask if you guys are able, if you are able to do anything to help us, please do, so some of our friends can find me over here, but also some new friends can come in. I might not be able to read all your comments now, but I'd love you to check in with each other, find out what your handles are over here, and we'll start building our community wherever we find each other. But I'm going to take a right up here, and this is going to take us going towards the beach. I usually take this ride, and I ride the whole way with my pedals, and then when I get tired, I'll put it on the bike and let it take me home. But we're going to head towards a Fort Island beach. But more about the Blue-Eyed Thump Thumps and when Bigfoot was supposedly shot. Such a wild story. But the high school kids have been talking about this all summer, that something had kind of changed. And when they were camping up there, when they were having their keg parties and things, that they would hear more and more of these beings, and they seemed like they were angry. They were getting louder, they were throwing things in it. One time they came back, a young man and a young woman. To be fair, they were back there fooling around. And they had left their little sleeping bags and the mat that they had made where they were making love. They left that to go back to the party to get a few beers. And when they came back, they found enormous prints around their sleeping bag area, and something had hosed everything down with strong, very ammonia-smelling urine. It had pissed all over, torn up their sleeping bag. It was like something angry at them. Now, it could have been a jealous boyfriend or something, but what happened that night shows different. There was a young man by the name of Scotty there with them that night, and they had all been sitting around partying when somebody had exclaimed, "Look at that up on the hill!" They pointed, and sure enough, up on the ridge, I've seen this ridge, they saw a humanoid figure that was covered, cloaked, as they said, completely in hair. It was turned away from them. It was actually engaged in busily climbing up the cliff face when Scotty raised a rifle and shot. You see, when everybody else had exclaimed what they were seeing, like many people back then, a lot of kids had guns in the back of their pickup trucks. I mean, it just was common, even in high schools and things. So Scotty went and grabbed his rifle and supposedly shot this thing, whatever it was. Now, more than a dozen people gave a report to the law enforcement that night, and they all said the same thing, essentially, that what they saw was this thing climbing up the hill, covered in hair. It never turned around because it seemed like it couldn't, but when the sound of the gunfire went off, they actually saw it get hit somewhere between the hip and the lower back. They actually saw it recoil from the blow. They saw what appeared to be blood, even on the rock face, and then the creature stopped for a moment, and then it continued to climb up. And then it went into a cave, and they heard it noisily dying in there, or so they supposed. A group of the people that were brave decided they were going to go up and try to finish whatever it was, or try to pull it out into the light and see what it was. But when they heard the noise it was making, nobody chose to do that. Now, one of the kids that were there that night was the child of one of the sheriff in the town, and they were convinced that what Scotty shot was an actual person that night. He really believed that Scotty had killed a person, that it was somebody dressing up like Planet of the Apes or something, something crazy. Bigfoot really wasn't, there was a Bigfoot craze, but they didn't even really know the name Bigfoot. It wasn't something that was spoken about in that town. They called these things blue-eyed thump-thumps, and nobody had ever really drawn a correlation between Bigfoot and the thump-thumps. But something happened that night, and the police had heard about it, so they came out. Now, after all this had happened, people felt so bad. They had begun to whisper and think that they had shot a homeless or a feral person, or it was a person. People were saying it was a person. And all these kids were all freaked out. Let me get these bright lights off everybody. Everybody was all freaked out about everything that had happened, as they definitely should have been freaked out, I imagine. So the police got involved, and they came and they interviewed all these kids. All the kids said the same thing. The police went and ruled out. Now, the police, in the little tiny bit of police report that you can find, it says that when they arrived, there was no sign of any body, no sign of anything, no sign of anything to prove what had happened. There was a smell of something in the cave. That's the only thing they said, but it doesn't say they went in or anything. Now, some people speculated that this was a great big cover-up from day one, since the police were involved, that there was a person. Some people believe it really was a Bigfoot. But the story goes on even crazier in some of the reports, that there's witchcraft involved, there's old crazy ladies involved, mutant animals. Like, this is just such a weird story, and it would take me probably an hour to tell it all. Now, I am not the only one that knows these stories, and I'm not the only one that has. It's not like forbidden knowledge or anything. You can look up the blue-eyed thump story. But I'm going to be real honest with you. This one's been difficult for a number of reasons. One of those is the multiple and repeated hurricanes that this area has faced, the destruction of the local library. Not only that, the place that had more information than any library was the civic area, the town hall, and they got nothing. They got smashed. They lost a lot. Water damage, lost a lot of things. Now, also what happened with this is this happened in 1969, 1972, during that era. That was well before the time of anything being digital. Everything was done through the Dewey Decimal System. Everything was done, it was filed, and it was done with written reports, even police reports. They had started a nationwide filing system for police reports at the time, but it was not in use in most jurisdictions. So a lot of the things that we did have been destroyed and lost. So a lot of what we do have are just reports and things that people have talked about, just things that they've talked about and that survived, kind of come down. Good Lord. That is a bad bump. It's like the worst pot there. I just heard something that sounded like a rooster crowing, but I'm not sure what the hell that was, to be honest. I do see some people up ahead of me, and I don't really like running into people at 3 o'clock in the morning on bikes. It's just not usually a good thing when people are out and about, unless they're weird like me. But I do run into Shelly always worries. She's like worries about that stuff. I'm always very safe, but you know, sometimes I've heard of most emergency room doctors will tell you this. Here's one of those clues that'll help you stay and live a long and healthy life. Nothing really, really good happens after midnight. When it comes down to it, statistically, that's when the majority of murders, the majority of rapes, the majority of things like that happen, or, are late at night. Real crazy stuff. It tends to happen late at night. And a lot of people will tell you that and say that's why they choose not to be out and about at those hours, if you know what I mean. Of course, these are the hours that I choose to be out and about. Anyway, hey, Long Island Bigfoot, talking to Bigfoots, isn't that wild? So the Blue-Eyed Thump Thump, you can look up some mid-coast Bigfoot stories on the Blue-Eyed Thump Thump. My theory is this. My theory was that there was something back there. 100% there was something back there. And I believe it was most likely shot that night, There was reports after the fact that these things kind of were more hostile after the shooting, that they still were getting reports and things. They definitely were getting reports, but it seemed that the reports were much more sporadic. They just weren't really there. I'm going to go around these folks, I think, and just get up on the road in a minute. I think we're taking this light anyway. We're going to take a left to go down to the beach. I do have a thing that I can set this thing up on. I need to get it together and actually set it up. Oh, man. All right, now we're taking this way. Hope you guys are still getting some decent reception out of me tonight. I'm just glad that I can get out and do this nature tour. Now, I still got this is 9-mile ride right here. So this is where we can really let our hair down and have some fun a little bit because it's not worried about traffic as much and it's safer out here. This is where they start some of the mandatory drives and things. But we are out here looking for wild things, for wildlife. So let me put my big headlamp back on and I'll tell some stories as we go, but I want to make sure I got some light on this thing so we can see what we got out here. I see quite a lot of bobcat some nights. There's going to be plenty of snakes if we're very lucky. Unfortunately, many times I see dead water moccasins rather than live ones here, which sucks for me, but we'll see what we can see. Long Island. Hey, creature, glad you're over here on YouTube. I don't make it to TikTok as much. Well, you know what? You're going to see a lot more of me over here. I got a buddy that's helping me drag everything over this way, and we're going to do some work together, but I'm really glad too, and now I can figure out a way that I can actually take you guys along for fun, take you along for bike rides and exploration trips and looking for alligators at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning in ditches, kind of stuff I'm doing right now. Now the water's real low, man, which is pretty good. You never know what you might find in a low ditch. Sometimes you'll find a 10-foot alligator sitting there and it can't get away from you. It's a lot of fun. But this road is, oh my God, I smell some, oh God. Last time I was here, I smelled the same thing. It smells like that fake grape. Anybody ever remember the era when like kids erasers and things had like smells to them? I don't know why they did that because I always tried to eat that stuff. But you get like an eraser that smelled like grape or strawberry. Even though my allergies are kicking up, I can smell that grape smell so strong. Hey, Chris Newell, howdy, hey. Fraggle Rockstar, I'm so glad. It just makes me happy to see you here. So last time I was here, I caught, sorry, I can say that, a water moccasin. I moved a water moccasin off the road. And I didn't want it to get hit because I had just seen a dead one too. And it always makes me feel real bad. In just a little bit, you guys hang in with me. Unless we lose reception, we're going to get to a beautiful spot where we start hitting the Brackish Marsh, and we're going to start seeing some wildlife, I promise. We'll start seeing some frogs at the very least, hopefully some snakes. But we're going to be in the marsh, and you get to hear all the wild things. It's so pretty out here. Hey, David Deals here. There you are. Long Island says, did you say they put me on Paranormal, Caught on Camera, Season 6? Holy cow, Long Island. I got to check that out. I got to check that out, man. Let's see. I think I might crank us up a little bit if it's not too loud for you guys. Where we can cover a little bit more ground a little bit quicker. And get us to the good spot. It's a couple miles up to where I really get into the... I'm going to show you a crap ton of alligators if you're up for it. If you guys like alligators, I might... If you don't want that kind of stuff, maybe we'll just keep going for the snakes. But there's a little park up here that I love stopping in, and it's so full of alligators. And the funny thing, which isn't so funny, is parents, they're in there with their kids all day swimming right off of the dock. I mean, literally right off of that daggum dock. And it is chock-a-block full of alligators. Some of them are 10, 12 foot. Maybe not 12. I didn't see a 12, but I know there's going to be big ones in there. There's got to be at least one good big male in there. And if you come there by day, people are in and out of their kayaks. Their kids are jumping off of that dock. They're in and out swimming off of that dock. And I'm just like, holy cannoli. If you've been here at night and you saw what you're in the water with, you wouldn't let your little kids in there floating around like yummy little marshmallows. The alligators are massive. And they're good. They're behaving themselves because they got plenty to eat. But I still wouldn't want my kids in there just kind of floating around with them. Maybe I'll take a video at night and show them all the eyes shine and put it up. And they'll be like, oh, my God. Can you guys hear? Is it too loud for you? I hope it's not. But I'm scanning around. I'm going to try to be better about scanning with the camera so you guys can see what I'm looking at. If you see any your eye shine or anything, you're going to have to let me know. And there's still some houses here, but we're going to get up here in just a little bit where there's not much cooking. All right. Hey, David, so cool to hear you, man. So cool. Oh, is that a snake? Let's see what that is. I don't know if that was trash or if that was a snake. Let's find out in a minute. Is it a moccasin or is it a piece of trash? Dadgummit. I think I might hear a car coming too. I don't know, but still I'll look away from them so they're not getting light all up in their eyes. There we go. That's the first car I've seen on this road. So that was in fact a piece of trash, not a good snake. I don't know what this place is. I've never come up here on this. Let's see what we got up here. If you guys enjoy this type of tour, let me know for sure. And share if you can. If so, we're going to start doing these nightly probably, or every other night when we do our live streams. Go South Productions, Marine Supply, got a bug in my ear, Live Bait and Tackle, Sea Hag's Deli, oh, that sounds fun. Smoke Shop, I know some of you guys would like that. Punky Brew or Funky Brew, and an gas station. All right, let's not loiter here because somebody will think I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to try to set up for a minute. You all don't mind. I got a way that I can set you up here to where I can be hands-free. I just heard something over there. I don't know what it was, but I'm going to go hands-free so I can be a little safer here and check everything out and all that good stuff. So you guys got to give me just a second while I get you set up. Uh-oh, it says orientation locked. Hold on a second. It's got little feet I got to put the stand in, so you guys give me a second. I'm almost there. Hey, Christy, is that Christy Conversa? Holy cow. Mr. Turn Up. Wi-Fi is better on YouTube. Is it? Well, that's freaking awesome to know. This might be a game changer. I told you they hate me over on the other place. They really do. I've been a thorn in their side for a while. I don't know why. But it is what it is. All right, we got you guys in the saddle, I think. We're going to get a better, if we're going to do this thing like a chicken wing, we're going to go ahead and get a better stand one of these days. But let's see if you guys can at least see and I can be safe. Edmundo Correa! Holy cow, Edmundo's here. And we're going to do story time wherever you find me, guys. We're going to figure this guy out. But you know I like telling my stories. And we're in a great spot for it right now. We are somewhere heading for Fort Island Beach and some parks where I know there's a crap ton of big alligators that I want to play with. And I can do it over here, or I can do a little more over here. Now, by law, guys, in the state of Florida, I can't go pulling alligators out of the water unless I've got my permit and I'm doing it for a reason, or I'm on Seminole land with my friends. And I wouldn't do that anyway. But what I will do for you is I'll get you just as close as I can safely. And to be quite honest, if the alligator comes at me, then I am able to touch it. But I won't do that, of course. But let's just ride for a little bit. Ride. And when I get where we're going, we'll take the phone down. We'll start looking for gators. Big old gators. But this area is also known for not just Bigfoot, but Moss Man, which is a very interesting story. There's been stories of a werewolf-like being seen in this county. There's even a witch. There's a small island off of, not too far off the Weeki Wachee called the Gulf Island. And it was said to be the home of a evil old woman. The people were so frightened of her that they would go out of their way, miles out of their way, to avoid her island. And it was very rare that she came to town, but it was said whenever she came to town, there was death. And at one point, they had gathered together a posse. I kind of imagine rather like the old Frankenstein posses you see in the movies. They gathered together a posse complete with their pitchforks, their torches, and their ropes, and they were going to go hang the old woman. And it was said that when they got to the island, the first man ashore fell, and when he fell, his guts fell out of him. And I only heard of something like that once before, but they say pretty much the man exploded, and the people were so frightened by it that they turned around as one, and they never dared try to stop the woman again. The Witch of Gulf Island. And that was a story that was told to me by a man named Ed Pierce, who lives in our park. I've not been able to find much on it, although I have heard mention of it more than once. But it's always been just that, just a mention. The old witch woman. Now, witches, guys, we got to be really careful with witches. That was an umbrella term for anything people really didn't understand for a long time, anything they were frightened of. Now we're starting to get into a spot where I might start to see some critters, so I'm really on the lookout now, guys. The water is so low, though. This is kind of bad. But anybody that was different, anybody that had different abilities, maybe they seemed strange. You know, people were so frightened in different periods at different times of witches that there were some terrible crimes committed. We've all heard those stories of terrible crimes committed. Right now there's an animal in the middle of the road. I don't know what it is, but I'm about to find out. It's a bobcat. Hey, it's a bobby. Look at him go. Look at him go. Oh, I couldn't get you guys close enough, but maybe we'll see him right now. There's a bobcat right here on the right. Hold on, guys. Let's see if we get close enough to this bobby. I'm going to try to turn in. He's in this bush somewhere. Where are you, Bobby? I'll see if he's in here. His eyes shine. He'll be looking back at me. They're sneaky. Nope, he took off. Dadgummit, man. Last time I was here, I saw like 3 or 4 bobcat. I knew that we had run into one, but let's go back. Sometimes they'll pop back out and you'll see their eye shine. They're so sleek, the way they move, it's so brilliant. I love them. But buddy, if they don't want to be seen, you will not see them. What the heck was that? Did you guys hear that?